2024 has been a year full of ups and downs for our people, many of which we have covered in detail over the past 12 months. Oftentimes, it can feel natural to focus the majority of our attention on the challenges and setbacks we are facing around the world, but it is my firm belief that in these moments, it's more vital than ever that we also recognize the major victories too. Victories that remind us of the progress we are continuing to make despite the many odds stacked against us, ranging from the likes of religious fundamentalism to angry little men obsessed over our bodies and bedrooms, and to the seemingly endless misinformation campaigns seeking to spread lies about our community. But in this video, we are putting such things on the back burner, and instead will review and celebrate 15 of the most impactful legal wins for LGBTQ people this year. Wins that protect our rights, our dignity, and our future. Each of these milestones in social development prove that even in difficult times, positive change is possible when we remain united and determined. They're a testament to the resilience of activists, allies, and everyday individuals who refuse to give up the fight for equality and freedom across the planet. Acknowledging these victories isn't about complacency, it's about fueling hope and inspiring action as we face the battles ahead. For every step forward, we must stay vigilant against those who seek to turn back the clock. But today, let's take a moment to celebrate how far we've come and let these wins serve as a reminder that the fight is worth it. Together, we can continue to build a brighter, more inclusive, and safe future for everyone. On January 1st, Estonia's marriage equality bill that had been initially passed last year went fully into effect, in addition to joint adoption rights for queer couples, making this incredible Baltic country the first ex-Soviet state in the world to achieve this developmental milestone. In 2024, Estonia truly cemented its place in the ranks of the free world and is emerging as one of the bravest and boldest defenders of liberty across Europe. Estonia is the 40th country globally and the 15th in the European Union to introduce full marriage equality. And so, well done Estonia for being on the right side of history. Also, on January 1st, the U.S. state of Oregon passed House Bill 2002, which guarantees that all medical insurance operating within the state must offer gender-affirming care coverage. The bill additionally protects the rights of trans youth in the state to have unrestricted access to age-appropriate gender-affirming care after having a conversation with their parents and healthcare provider. And for any propagandized conservatives who somehow found this video, let me just make it crystal clear that in the US, gender-affirming care for minors does not include surgeries. With the passing of House Bill 2002, Oregon has once again demonstrated its commitment to our community and to creating an environment where all of its citizens can thrive and access the care they need, regardless of age or income level. On February 16th, Greece became the first majority Orthodox Christian country in the world to achieve full marriage equality, including joint adoption rights. In addition to this, on the same day, Greece also introduced comprehensive non-discrimination legislation protecting LGBTQ individuals from discrimination in nearly every area of society, from education to social benefits and the provision of goods and services, including housing. And this is all in addition to protections such as in the area of employment that were already in place. The legislative situation for our community in Greece is now one of the most progressive and fair in the world. Hopefully, in the years to come, public opinion in the country towards LGBTQ people and rights will rise to match the incredible legal victories that 2024 has brought. Despite some opposition, Greece's government has decided that respecting human rights and safeguarding all of their citizens equally is the only way forward. So well done to Greece and its brave leaders. On March 1st, a bill in Portugal banning conversion therapy went into full effect after being initially passed a few months earlier in December of 2023. Now, for those who do not know, conversion therapy is the practice of trying to abuse and psychologically manipulate LGBTQ people into claiming they are no longer queer before they are permitted to be released back into society. Defenseless children from primarily Christian and Muslim backgrounds are often the primary victims of such practices and are sent by their own families to endure psychological torture in the name of altering their sexual orientation or gender identity. Thankfully, since March 1st, Portugal has banned this deeply evil practice and has become a world leader in doing so. Famously progressive countries like Sweden, Denmark, and the Netherlands still have not taken steps to do so, and should follow Portugal's example in safeguarding their most vulnerable citizens. On April 2nd, the southern African country of Lesotho introduced protections from employment discrimination covering both sexual orientation and gender identity. The new law also explicitly bans violence, harassment, and sexual harassment on the basis of gender identity. While much of Africa remains quite dangerous for our community, the southern portion of the continent continues to make encouraging progress. Lesotho is located entirely inside of South Africa and seems to be slowly but surely following the good example that its much larger neighbor has set for queer rights. This year, Lesotho showed that it certainly is on the right track. On April 22nd, the Caribbean country of Dominica made the long overdue decision to overturn its ban on homosexuality. Dominica's High Court ruled that Sections 14 and 16 of the Sexual Offenses Act were unconstitutional, and with this ruling made same-sex relationships legal. The ruling also equalized the age of consent in the country, meaning that same-sex and opposite-sex relationships are now both subject to the same laws regarding the age of consent. With Dominica's incredible decision to respect the basic human rights of thousands of its citizens, only 4 Caribbean island countries continue to criminalize queer relationships, these being Jamaica, Grenada, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Hopefully, the powerful move that Dominica has made this year will motivate these countries to also respect their citizens' personal liberty and dignity in the near future. For now, well done, Dominica. On May 16th, Liechtenstein's parliament, known as the Landtag, passed a bill introducing marriage equality with a vote of 24 in favor and only 1 against. Liechtenstein has long been a relatively progressive country, which is not surprising considering its location sandwiched between Switzerland and Austria. But despite the largely accepting and tolerant general population in this small alpine nation, pro-LGBTQ legislation was slow to materialize. On January 1st, 2025, the bill that was passed back on May 16th of 2024 will finally enter into effect, and queer couples will be able to marry freely. It is wonderful to see the legal situation in this incredible country finally catching up to its long, open, and LGBTQ-friendly society. On May 28th, Greenland passed a piece of legislation called the Law on Equal Treatment and Anti-Discrimination, which bans all forms of discrimination against individuals based on their sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and gender characteristics. This piece of legislation is one of the most comprehensive in the world. And while considered a constituent country within the Kingdom of Denmark, Greenland maintains control over many areas of legislation, and in 2016 became the 22nd jurisdiction in the world to achieve marriage equality. Now, in 2024, Greenland also has some of the most robust pieces of anti-discrimination legislation found anywhere on Earth, and it's quickly becoming a global leader in human rights with its deep respect for individual liberties. On June 8th, Mexico banned conversion therapy across the entire country and made the practice a federal offense. Penalties for those who fund, conduct, or coerce others into conversion therapy include a prison sentence ranging from 2 to 6 years and a fine of up to $11,000. Mexico's ban on conversion therapy is one of the most powerful protections of our community anywhere in the world and signals that Mexico firmly stands with all of its LGBTQ citizens. Before this federal ban, many Mexican states had already enacted their own laws banning conversion therapy. The federal entity of Mexico City banned the practice in 2020, and 19 different Mexican states followed in the years between then and the federal implementation of the ban. Well done, Mexico, for taking such bold action to secure the mental and physical well-being of some of your most vulnerable citizens. You set an example in this area that hopefully many countries around the world will follow in the years to come. On June 18th, Thailand's Senate voted 130 to 4 in favor of legalizing marriage equality. This vote in the Senate followed an earlier vote in March of this year when the country's House of Representatives voted 400 to 10 in favor of the same bill. On January 22nd of 2025, this bill that was passed by both chambers of government and signed into law by the Thai king will enter into full effect, making Thailand the first Southeast Asian country with marriage equality and the second in all of Asia, following only Taiwan, which did so back in 2019. For a brief moment this year, it appeared that Nepal had also achieved marriage equality, but the government clarified that it was still under consideration, and thus Thailand has in fact secured the title of second Asian country to have reached this important developmental milestone. Thailand is quickly becoming one of the best countries in the world for our community, and a vast majority of the population supports the passing of marriage equality into law. So well done to Thailand for standing up for equality and freedom. On June 21st, Namibia's High Court in Windhoek legalized homosexuality when it ruled that a law it had inherited from South Africa, from back when it was still under its rule, was unconstitutional and amounted to discrimination. The 3 Namibian judges agreed that the law banning same-sex relations would be removed on these grounds. Now, Namibia remains a very difficult place to be queer, but its decision this year to decriminalize homosexuality is a massive step in the right direction. 30 African countries still criminalize being LGBTQ, but now Namibia is no longer part of this shameful grouping. Hopefully, Namibia will continue to build upon the encouraging progress it has made this year to create a truly safe and free environment for its citizens moving forward. On July 1st, Latvia's civil unions law came into full effect. Back in November of 2023, the country passed a bill introducing civil unions for same-sex couples, but it was not until this summer when the bill officially entered into law. Unfortunately, civil unions do not allow for the same rights as true marriage equality, but the introduction of them is nevertheless an enormous win for our community, and makes Latvia the second ex-Soviet state to introduce any legal recognition of same-sex couples after only Estonia. Hopefully, in time, Estonia's full marriage equality law that went into force at the start of this year will inspire Latvia and Lithuania to follow with their own similar legislation in the near future. But for now, queer Latvians do have access to civil unions, and this is certainly something worth celebrating, even as we look forward to future legislative progress. Well done, Latvia, for moving in the right direction, the direction of freedom and self-determination. On July 12th, the 3 constituent countries of Aruba, Curacao, and St. Martin all achieved marriage equality after a final ruling from the Dutch Supreme Court. Each of these Caribbean islands are part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands and are thus subject to the court's ruling despite their status as constituent countries with a fair amount of autonomy within the kingdom. Over 300,000 individuals live across these 3 island constituencies, and the ruling from the Dutch Supreme Court this summer guarantees that they all now have equal access to marriage and family, regardless of their sex or gender. An incredible move for the Caribbean, the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and the world alike. On September 18th, the Democratic governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, banned conversion therapy for minors in the state with an executive order. Now, Kentucky is a deeply conservative and religious state, and is part of the infamous Bible Belt. Conversion therapy in this part of the USA is especially brutal and widespread, so this move from the state's governor has safeguarded countless queer children from unimaginable horrors. The governor is quoted as saying that he would no longer wait for others to do what was right when speaking of his decision to ban this harmful practice by executive order. Well done to Governor Beshear for taking a stand for what is right, regardless of the backlash from the far-right Christian extremists. This country needs more leaders like you. On November 1st, Germany made an incredible stride in LGBTQ legislation with the Self-Determination Act going into effect. Trans individuals 14 years and older are now allowed to change their legal gender on all official documentation in addition to changing their legal names. Trans youth under the age of 14 are also able to do the same after receiving consent from their parents or guardians. Furthermore, outing or dead-naming an individual intentionally has also been made a legal offense. And, since November 1st, Germany has become one of the first European countries to legally recognize a non-binary gender, and has extended the same rights as outlined above to all non-binary and other gender-diverse individuals in the country. The Self-Determination Act is a powerful and world-leading piece of legislation that cements Germany as one of the best in the world in terms of LGBTQ rights. So, well done, Germany. I am writing this script from Berlin, and I'm grateful that Europe's largest economy continues to stand for our rights to exist freely, safely, and equally. This year was full of pivotal moments that will continue to impact our community for years to come. Many of these were negative. That is an unfortunate and unavoidable truth. But we also covered so many positive stories as well. Sometimes it's easy to feel like there is no hope and that the entire world is collapsing in around us. But hopefully this video, reviewing 15 legal victories, highlights that our fight is worth fighting for, and that even when we don't have the strength left to stand up for ourselves, just maybe we can muster enough strength to fight for each other. Going into 2025, I want you to know that you are not alone. that hundreds of millions of your people continue to work for your survival and success, and that no matter where you live, we won't give up until you are safe and free. Thank you, friends, for making my 2024 an incredible year. Good things still happen, good people do still exist. Every day you survive is an act of defiance against our enemies, and the queer kingdom will always be here to have your back. Until next time, and until next year, dear friends, QK out.